Okay, class, as we get started with the WebMD website, this is the website that we were evaluating for our first part of our evaluation assignment. Um, with this particular site, it's kind of hard to find, let's say, a publication date or how current the article is. And with this one, it has a little section here down near the bottom where it says select an article. And you can go into different pages in the smoking cessation website. We're going to go into references. And as we click on references, it brings up a citational list of sources they use to compose this information. And then as you kind of go down the page a little bit further, it's full of ads. That's one of the negative features of this particular site, of all the pop-up ads. But last update, it comes up on this particular screen right here. So a little hard, way too difficult to find, but it is there on that particular site. As far as one of the things I wanted to make people aware of, as far as the authorship for this particular website and who created the site. Well, for most websites, you want to find their about page, especially if the article is not signed, which this one isn't. But as we kind of go down to the very bottom of the particular page, here's an About WebMD section here. And as you click on that particular link, it brings you up to information about the page or about the website as far as awards and recognitions, who we are, as far as our senior staff and editorial team, some of the awards it's received, as well as other information that may be useful as far as determining what type of site you're at and who is the creator of the site, who provides the information. So you always want to try and find that about us or about section of a website. Many times it's no longer at the very top of the page. A lot of times you have to go way down to the very bottom and kind of go through the links down here at the very bottom of the page. It will give you that type of information. And so that's very important as far as evaluating websites, as far as who put the information up, where can you find that type of information. Normally it's going to come up under the About section of a website. The other method to use, and for this one also, we could go into Google, and that's certainly a valid way. Let's say if you had an author's name, you may want to do research on the author. May not have a lot of information about him or her on the website, so you could put their name into Google. For instance, we're going to put in WebMD creator, and within Google it comes up with WebMD, its founder, James Henry Clark, entrepreneur and computer scientist, and it talks about how he founded several technology companies in Silicon Valley, including WebMD. And so, this is another valid way of finding information out about your particular website, doing a separate search either about the company or the author, maybe the publisher of a book. So for your evaluation for your final project, you're going to need to evaluate your 6 best sources for your final project. And so a lot of times you'll find information on the website, but you may want to step away from that and do a separate search on that particular company or author. You can also evaluate a book that way. You have an author's name. You may want to do some separate searching on the author's name to see what else they wrote. Maybe they have a personal page up there, up on the internet. Maybe they're associated with a particular publisher. They can provide you with background information as far as what they wrote and things of that nature. So that's just another method. Simply, besides searching the website, you can always go out and do a Google search and see what else you can find on a particular author or publisher of a source that you're interested in. Another section in the evaluation, especially for your final project, that you're going to need to cover, that in the past a lot of students seem to have a little bit of difficulty understanding, is the section under scope. That's why I've provided some references in our week 4 and week 5 folder. kind of dealing with the topic of scope. What do I mean by that? You know, and I'm looking at what topics are covered on the website. You know, you found a specific article, but in determining and evaluating the information, you've already evaluated the authority, objectivity, you know, and use the five criteria questions as far as what, you know, whether it's a .com, .edu, .gov site. How can you tell whether it's reliable? Maybe because the author has great credentials, you know, objectivity, accuracy, currency. Those are all kind of self-explanatory with some of those questions. But as far as a scope, what I mean by that is, you know, what topics are covered and who is the intended audience. Is something very specific that's only covered on that particular website. And so, for instance, with this site that we're looking at with WebMD, you know, with WebMD, we have at the very top some navigational buttons we can mention as far as the realm, the scope of this particular website. Not only does it cover you know, the smoking site, but it also has an A through Z health section. And as you click on that, you know, you can kind of give us an overview as far as, you know, it covers all common types of health information. And, you know, you don't have to go through each one of these, but you'd maybe go through one or two of them to see how specific does it go in depth. You know, here's one on aging, 50 plus, living better, longer, and then some of the top stories and some of the sections that it may cover kind of dealing with the topic of aging, or is it just simply one article dealing with, you know, 50 plus, or does it have other articles? How much in depth does it go? But it has you know, a wide range of different sort of an A through Z sort of a format, as well as it provides, you know, information on drugs and supplements, healthy living, and some topics there as far as diet, food and fitness, beauty and balance, living well. You know, under the topic of pregnancy, it talks everything as far as pregnancy and parenting, as well as pets. So, you know, the scope of this site is wide range, and it sort of gives you an overview of different sort of health related topics. And so that's something you want to mention under that category number 5, is scope. So for each one of these 5 criteria you're going to be doing, I'm not looking for, you know, a thesis paper, but I'm looking for a couple paragraphs, you know, telling me information about what you found. Let the questions kind of guide you through to provide you with information that you can provide in your evaluation of the site. I'm not looking for a yes or no answer to any of these. So you need to tell me what you found and use that information to justify why you think this is a good site. Remember, it's going to be the 5 or 6 best sites on your topic. So, you know, not the first 5 that come up in Google, but it can be an article from a database. It can be a book source from the library catalog. It can be websites, but you need to provide information to kind of convince your reader why this is a valid and useful site, one of the 6 best in this subject. And so it may have a site may include a bibliography of sources, and it's more research based. Or maybe for your particular topic, you're looking for the history of something, giving you an overview. So there's many different ways to kind of justify, but you need to provide that information so I understand why that particular site should be on one of your 6 bests. All right. So that's, hopefully that will help you out a little bit as far as scope. You know, what topics are covered, how in depth does it go, is it a brief overview, is it sort of an analysis? And you know, you'll find those on the page, but you need to take the time to kind of look over your site and gather that information.